Strongest argument for us being in a simulation, probably being in a simulation, I think is the following. That 40 years ago, we had Pong, like two rectangles and a dot. That
Right.
was what games were. Now, 40 years later, we have photorealistic 3D simulations with millions of people playing simultaneously, and it's getting better every year. And soon we'll have virtual reality, augmented reality. If you assume any rate of improvement at all, then the games will become indistinguishable from reality, just indistinguishable. Even if that rate of advancement drops by 1,000 from what it is right now, then you just say, okay, well, let's imagine it's 10,000 years in the future, which is nothing in the evolutionary scale. So they'll be so realistic, you will not be able to tell the difference between that game and the reality as we know it. And then it seems like, well, how do we know that that didn't happen in the past? And that we're not in one of those games ourselves?
I think these entertainment technologies are the way to go. I think that what we should all be trading in 15 or 20 years from now is ideas. And ideas should be worth more than anything.
Look at our own evolution and our technological advancement. It goes in two directions. It goes outward as we spread across the planet and make massive cities and make airplanes and then make rockets and go to the moon. Like there's this outward expansion of our technological scaffolding, right? Like a spider's web, like spreading out potentially into the universe. Yet simultaneously, there's this inward expansion as we make denser and denser computational substrates, right? The chips keep getting more powerful, the processing capacity gets more powerful and infinitely smaller until you eventually might get to what he calls femtoscale computing, which is computing that's like computational density that's on the size of like a black hole-like dimensions of computational density, okay? And the idea being is, so we have this outward expansion, but then we have this much faster exponential inward expansion. And no doubt, eventually, maybe a couple hundred years, whatever, we're going to live in virtual realities, because that's just what's going to happen. Synthetic artificial intelligences that can think and essentially have personhood.
I'm very interested in virtual reality and the idea of making the imagination explicit or interiorizing the exterior world. I mean, one vision that I've had of a kind of future utopia is, it opens on a world which looks like our world of 10,000 years ago. I mean, people live tribally, they are physically perfect, they are naked, they want for nothing, but they appear to have no material culture whatsoever. Then when you shift your point of view so that you're inside one of these people's heads, you discover that when they close their eyes, there are menus hanging in space in front of them. And by glancing at these menus with a certain intensity, they are able to make their way into a culture that is entirely three-dimensionally present for them, but which nowhere impinges on the world of three-dimensional space.